All right. So I think I will go ahead and get us started, and whoever joins us can jump in. It's great to have everyone here. It's a nice small group, so feel free to ask questions as we're going through. Go ahead and unmute yourself and jump right in. We can have more of an informal discussion if need be. So thank you for being here. My name is Dr. Annette Bijuan Hernandez, and I am the Academic Program Director for the Educational Studies program. I'm also a clinical associate professor in the Department of Teaching and Learning. I do also run our credential program in the School of Education, which is the session I had right before this. So I wear a couple of different hats, which keeps me busy, but it's something I truly love and enjoy. So all good. And part of that is probably due to the fact that I am now in my 15th year here at LMU. I have built a career in teacher education for about 20 years or so. And I can honestly say, as a proud alumna of LMU, not once but twice, that LMU and the School of Education really did help me become the educational professional that I am today. And they really did truly help me affect change and be the change. So for that, I am truly grateful. All right, so today, in addition to formally welcoming you, I'm going to share a little bit about the School of Education. And Julia, I apologize, it's gonna feel really repetitive, but hopefully you don't mind hearing it again. The values and ideas that inform our work with aspiring change agents, the program, as well as the application process. And at the end of the presentation, there will be time for questions if you want to wait till then. But again, there's a few of us that if you have questions, feel free to ask as we're going through. I will also share contact information at the end. I know a lot of times there's a lot of information coming at you all at once. And once you have time to reflect, then you're flooded with questions. So you'll have contact information for both myself and the admissions office so that you can email the respective person or entity with your questions. All right, so let's get started. In the School of Education, we align our values and our work with our conceptual framework known as REAL. And in our efforts to develop real educators for real change, we develop change agents who respect and value all individuals and the unique perspectives and contributions they offer, who educate by integrating theory and practice so that we know not just what to do, but why we do what we do. For change agents who advocate for access to a rich, culturally relevant, equitable, and socially just educational resources, experiences, and outcomes for all students, and who lead in order to facilitate transformation. Every single program, class, and experience that you have in our School of Education is designed with these specific principles in mind. And it is really our hope that you will infuse them into your professional practice with your students, with your schools, and the various communities that you're going to serve and probably currently serve. Real change starts right here in our School of Education as we seek to create the kind of world that we want to live in. We in the School of Education are very, very proud of our rankings, and all of us, faculty, staff, our students, our alumni, and our community partners all contribute to these achievements. I've highlighted a few of them here. We were the first School of Education in the state of California to receive national accreditation through CAPE, which was a very tall feat, but something we're very proud of. We are the third highest Jesuit School of Education across the nation. We are the third highest private School of Education in California. We are amongst the top 10 of all schools of education in California as well. And in the country, we are ranked 64th, or the top 5% of all schools of education. And you might be wondering why any of these rankings matter. So there are close to about 5,300 colleges and universities in the United States alone. 1,200 of those 5,300 have a school or college of education that offers a teacher preparation program. So of the 1,200, we are number 64 in terms of what we have to offer our candidates. So that is a lot of schools of education, but it is really important to be able to distinguish among those which offer some of the best opportunities for truly high quality preparation. And we in the School of Ed, we are about a little over 50 years old. And in that amount of time, we truly have demonstrated that we have what it takes and that we are experts in our craft. So how does the Educational Studies program, well, I keep going too far. How does this program work at LMU, this Educational Studies program? Let's take a closer look. So the program is designed as a 2-year hybrid program. I am currently in the process of submitting so that it also has an online option. So students could take almost all of the program online if they so chose. It is 30 units total. It offers the most maximum flexibility of all our programs in the School of Education. We do offer small class sizes. I want to say that our student to teacher ratio is about 15:1. Courses are centered around your specific goals and objectives, and we'll talk about that in a second. Students will choose from a selection of classes that are offered across the 3 School of Education departments we have. You can also take a maximum of 2 courses outside of the School of Education. So let's say you're really interested in business. You could take, in consultation with myself, your academic advisor, and then the business college, you could take 2 courses in business. If you're interested in sciences and theology and English, we work with a lot of different disciplines. So if it's something you're interested in, you could take up to 2 classes outside the School of Education. Obviously, this has to be done in consultation with a few of us. You can't just jump ship. We would need to do a little talking and collaborating, but not hard to do. And 2 important things: a teaching credential is not required to join the program, but the program is also not going to earn a teaching credential as well. You will have a dedicated academic program advisor, which will help you from the beginning to the end of the program to identify the specific courses that you want to take to accomplish the goals that you have by pursuing this program. We have the curriculum, is designed around full-time working professionals. So all of our coursework is in the evening. In the fall and spring semesters, a course is offered 1 night a week at a specific time slot. So it could be that you take all your courses on 1 night a week and you're done for that week. Depending on when things are offered, it might be that you're on campus or you're taking classes 2 nights a week. It really will depend on the courses you opt to take and when they're offered on the schedule. In the fall and spring terms, those are 15-week semesters, so classes meet 1 night a week. In the summer, we offer 2 distinct summer sessions. Each of them are 8 weeks long, which is half a semester length. So instead of meeting 1 night a week in the summer, those classes meet twice a week. So a lot of times students will take advantage of both summer terms. And in essence, they are completing a year's worth of coursework in the 16-week summer session across the 2 different sessions. So what does the coursework look like? So for the Educational Studies program, there are 4 core courses that everyone takes, and those are listed there. Each of them are 3 units. You will then choose 5 additional elective courses, which should be at least 3 units each. And those are courses that you take either from within the 3 departments that we have in the School of Education, or if you identify 2 courses outside the School of Education that you would want to take, then those would be within these 5 elective courses that you take. And then you culminate the program with a capstone course that engages you in a capstone project, which is a research study that you do on a topic or educational problem of practice that you identify. So that is what is required. And then of the 5 elective courses, you can take them in a specific area of focus. Again, the 5 courses you take will be 3 units each. So we have courses in digital learning, language and culture, literacy, higher education, integrative studies. I'll get back to that in a second. You have policy and administration, special education, and wellness and counseling. And those are in alpha order, so they're not in any sort of rank order whatsoever. With the literacy area of focus, within those 5 courses, I believe you can add a literacy certificate. So if you have an existing elementary credential and you're really passionate about literacy, taking the 5 courses in that area could also add a literacy certificate to your hat. You'd add a feather to your cap. For integrative studies, if you're someone who's really interested in dabbling across a few of these areas, so let's say you're interested in digital learning and higher education. Well, you could take 2 courses in digital learning, you could take 2 courses in higher ed, and then your 5th course can come from any of the other areas. So that would be the integrative studies area of focus that you would embark on, which would then give you the flexibility to take from an array of areas, and it's not in a specific concentrated area. I have a question in chat. Are there courses in bilingual? So the language and culture area of focus does have courses on the bilingual education. And if you're interested in adding, let's say you have, again, a multiple or single subject credential, if you wanted to add the bilingual authorization, you can potentially do that through the language and culture concentration, for sure. If that's something you're interested in, you would just want to let us know at the admission process, and then once admitted, with your academic advisor, so that we can connect you to the bilingual authorization director. For sure, great question. And I lost my mouse. Okay. So now that we talked about program specifics, let's talk about the actual application process. So the Educational Studies program admits over every semester. So I admit a cohort in the spring, I admit a summer cohort, and I admit a fall cohort. So it really depends on when you're ready to start. If you're ready to start in spring 22, I'm ready to work with you. Your application would be due November 15th. For the summer term, that's March 15th. And for the fall term, it is June 15th. In the School of Education, we all use the same deadlines. So if you did attend other sessions, these should look familiar, in that they're the same dates for each of the different terms. What I do tell candidates is, for example, if you're ready and want to start in the spring, but you're not quite sure you'll get all the requirements in by November 15th, just send us a message. Let us know you're working on it. Let us know what you're still waiting on. Like, let's say it's a letter of recommendation. We will work with you to try and get things in. And if it's a letter that's in lieu and it's coming and it should be in, let's say like by the end of the week, then we can potentially move your application along so that it doesn't get held up. But communication will be key in that. And we don't want to hold anyone up. Obviously, if you're missing too much, then we can't move you forward. But if it's something we can work with and it's in process and coming, we can definitely kind of help you along the process and not hold things up. So just let us know. The specific admission requirements for the Educational Studies program. All our applications are done online via a program called Slate. You will select from a drop-down menu the Educational Studies program. I do want to point out one very important detail. I also direct a 4+1 Educational Studies program, which is specific to our undergraduates at LMU, who stay at LMU to complete a 1-year master's program. It's around Ed Studies, but it's structured completely different. So when you go to apply, just make sure they're both going to say Ed Studies, but the other one will also say 4+1. So you do not want 4+1. You just want regular MA and Educational Studies. There will be a $50 application fee. You are required to have 2 letters of recommendation. You will submit your you will submit your letter of recommender's name and their email address to Slate, and then the system will email them directly saying that you have requested a letter of recommendation. They will upload it directly into the system, so you don't have to worry about being the messenger. What you do want to make sure is that your recommenders know that this is coming, so that they're not surprised by it and that they're on the lookout for it. You will need to provide a statement of intent that is about 3 to 4 pages long, and we will provide you a prompt for that. You need a current resume, and there will be a technology self-verification form that you just have to fill out. You will have to provide copies of your official transcripts from anywhere that you took coursework. You can either deliver that hard copy, and the address is there that you'd have to send it to, or you can submit it electronically by emailing graduateadmission@lmu.edu. And as I pointed out in my last session, be very careful. And I want to just point out that this email address for admission ends in an N, does not have an S. I know some offices do, some offices do not. So I always point out that for this particular email address for our graduate division, it is graduateadmission@lmu.edu. And then the actual process. So let's say that you are applying for spring, then you have your November 15th deadline. You will submit and have all of your materials in Slate by November 15th. You are a School of Ed admissions team. See, our admissions does have the S. Our admissions team will often review your application, and if something's missing, they'll let you know. But once it's 100% complete, and or we're already in communication about something that might be outstanding, a letter of rec that's coming, they will then forward your application to the department for review. It will technically go to the program director, which would be me. We'll have an interview where we sit down and just get to know each other a little bit better. And then I will submit my decision. It goes then to the department chair, as well as our associate dean, for their review and their decision. And then once all is said and done, you receive your admission status, you agree to join our program, and we connect you with your academic advisor, who you will sit down with and plan out, as far out in the program as you would like. We may not be able to tell you exactly when classes will be offered, but at least you'll know when to take what course. So they will map that out for you. Okay, so that's our admissions process. Here is the contact information. And actually something I did not do earlier, but I can do now, is I am putting my email in the chat for you so that you have that readily available. And I will go ahead and drop our admissions office email as well. There you go. If you have not contacted our admissions office yet with an inquiry for the Educational Studies program, I might suggest you do that after our session is done. That A, gets you in our system to know that you're interested. We can circle back, we can follow up, check if you have questions. And then we will also share with you our information packet on the program, which will outline a lot of what we just talked about. It'll also have all of those admission requirements. It'll have the address by where to send your transcript. So a lot of what we just shared will be in that information packet for you. So if you haven't reached out to our admissions office, please do that soon so that you can have that information readily available and accessible to you. So yes, and you'll see that a lot of it is what I covered tonight. All right, well, that is enough of me talking at you. Now I would love to hear from you. Are there any questions? Just email them, let me know. Yes, so you can email them at the address I just dropped in the chat. Email them, let them know that you're interested in the program, and they'll send you that information. Awesome. You can even let them know that you were here tonight and that I suggested you do that. So that way they already know you attended an info session, so you don't have to attend another one, unless you really wanted to. Julia.
Hi. Yes, I know you mentioned before that this is not a certification program, but I was wondering if there are any options to continue past the program or to add that on in any way. or if in the future I wanted to do that, because I love the flexibility of this program, but I'm curious if it would be any easier to pursue my certification with having this program done, or what your perspective is on that.
Absolutely. Julia, that is a great question. Yes, no, and here's my trepidation, is because of the influx that we are with having it approved. So there's two different options I'm thinking that the credential candidates will have as far as their master's is concerned. So one would be what right now what we have is a Master of Arts in Urban Education, which is similar, but I'm also considering offering the educational studies as a potential pipeline to the credential candidates. So it'd be something similar to what you have, but I'm thinking I might do it in reverse, in that I would design, for example, a teaching and learning area of focus that would count as those 5 electives, which actually, as I'm saying that out loud, it doesn't suit you, because what you're loving is the flexibility of those electives, probably.
Yeah.
So
But
that's not going to work. So unfortunately, given what I think you're trying to accomplish, that wouldn't be possible. It would be, but it would in essence do what I just explained. Your electives would become those credential courses, which I think is not what's drawing you to this program. What's drawing you to the program is kind of that flexibility to dabble in potentially different content areas, right?
yes.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the short answer would be no. There's probably no way to combine the two. I don't know if that.
Well, and then if, if I were to complete this program, would that make it easier for me to gain a credential, or would I have to,
You'd
start
have
over
to
essentially? Or
you'd have to still do a credential program, because the credential program is so specific to the standards set by the commission that you have to take those specific courses. What you could do now, and it's really because your passions are straddled right now, at least with the program offerings that we have at LMU. What you could do, what we could figure out, is you could earn the credential. And the credential that, let's say you have your subject matter completed, right? So that would be key for you, in that you would come with your subject matter completed. So remember earlier I said, if you come with your subject matter done, you can take and earn the credential in that first year, clean. You would then say, okay, I've got my credential. Instead of this master's, which is an additional 12 units, I kind of want to jump ship and do this Ed Studies master's instead. So it would be 30 units of Ed Studies work instead of 12 units to get the other MA. But it depends on what you really want to accomplish. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and I'm happy to talk. I have no other sessions after this. I do have a 5 o'clock appointment, but I'm happy to sit and talk specifics with you in your particular case, given what you just shared, to see how, if there's any way to figure it out for you in particular. Okay. Awesome. I know, I think Veronica put, how is this program different from the Educational Leadership MA? Great question. So the Educational Leadership MA, from my understanding, also earns an administrative credential. I don't know that the Ed Leadership program is strictly leadership coursework. I do know they were looking at some curricular changes there, but to my knowledge so far, the Ed Leadership MA leads to an administrative credential, and it requires candidates to have an administrative type role in a K-12 school, and will require clinical experiences at school sites as part of coursework.
So the educational studies, that's the one that we're here today learning about. This one does not earn you a teaching credential, but the educational leadership leads or earns you an administrative credential.
will earn you an administrative credential. And if you're interested in a teaching credential, we do have other programs that you earn a teaching credential and a master's at the same time.
I have my teaching credential. So
Okay, so you're set. You don't need that.
And I have my bilingual authorization.
Awesome.
I'm very interested in the flexibility of the choosing those areas of study. Yeah, that's one thing that feels very appealing.
Absolutely. And that is one of the biggest draws of this program. There are not a lot of programs like this out there that help you kind of design your own path of study.
Yeah.
So absolutely. But no, so you're correct. This one does not lead to any particular certification.
Okay.
Great question. You're welcome. Hi, Cheryl.
Hello, just hiding in the background.
Oh, and I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just wanted to say hi.
No, that's okay. And I did post the link, and I see, Veronica, you already filled it out. So usually it takes the system a couple hours, but you will get an email that has the information packet attached and have some other links and the information, the contact information for the School of Ed admissions team as well.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Cheryl. Love having you here.
thanks.
Cheryl's our teammate on the graduate division side. So we all work very closely together.
Yes. So any questions regarding the application, if and when you get to that point, you know, how to fill it out or recommendation links or anything like that, you can always email us and we can help you with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. May I ask, just, you know, as I'm trying to think about, you know, work and family life and just, you know, life.
Reality.
Like, are the reality. I like that. Thank you. You know, thinking about going back to in-person work, things like that. Like, how are the loads of the courses? Like,
Sure.
you know.
So as a graduate student, full-time is considered 6 units. So for us, that's about 2 courses every semester. As far as being in person, the program is hybrid, which means some courses are in person and some can be taken online. If you wanted to take it all in person, there's probably ways to do that. There may be 1 or 2 courses moving forward. Actually, I should take that back. That will always be online. So there will be some online. That's why it's hybrid.
I like the online option.
Okay.
So
Well,
that-
then, so then what I mentioned earlier, I'm currently in the process of putting in a proposal to also offering it online. So that will hopefully be an option moving forward as well. So, I mean, most our students, to be honest with you, Veronica, are full-time working professionals. Students in this program can have families and other responsibilities outside of being full-time students. There are others who can dedicate their time to their studies. And that's very independent of each person. But a 3-unit course typically requires, on average, and I'm going to emphasize average because some weeks will be less, some weeks will be more, approximately 5 to 6 hours per week. That's outside of class. So you'll have your 3 hours of class time. And then beyond that, let's say an average of 6 hours of dedicated work for readings, projects, papers, whatever that might be. And what I find students, it's just finding a rhythm. It's finding a rhythm that you're accustomed to working with, reestablishing the schedule for the family, and just kind of having those norms put in place that you might adjust from term to term. But it's definitely something that's doable.
And can I ask, so let's say, you know, we move forward and it's happening, and then, you know, I'm not able to continue full-time and I need to scale back a little bit.
That is absolutely doable. You can take 1 course a semester. What starts to impact with 1 course a semester is your financial aid eligibility. So once you drop from 6 units to 3, you're no longer a full-time graduate student. You're now considered part-time. So there are aid options. They're just not as abundant as they would be as a full-time. But as far as the program is concerned, yes, you can take 3 units a semester. If you needed to take a semester off for some reason, you can do that and then return. We've had students who, unfortunately, due to family circumstances or even just COVID, they took what's called a leave of absence. And let's say they took it for a year and they're now returning to kickstart the program and finish that again. So there are definitely options, and we're definitely flexible. Again, back to communication. It's just a matter of communicating and letting us know. The advisor is also amazing. So I will say, if there's something going on, or let's say a child is graduating in the following semester, so you just know it's going to be busy or you really want to engage in that, then it could be finding courses that aren't, I don't want to use the word aren't as rigorous, but may not be as demanding on the schedule. It may be that they're more seminar based, where you're doing more of dialogue and discussion in class versus a course that is much more assignment driven or project driven. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So it could be that if you know that that's something that's coming, then we plan accordingly for it. We've had students who've gotten married during the program, or have had babies, women who've gotten pregnant, and we've worked around that. So it's just a matter of what we need to do to adjust, but it's possible.
Okay.
For sure. Great questions. Julia, anything else, or just the specifics for your potential hope?
Probably just specifics and thinking it all over.
Okay, sounds good. Veronica, any other questions?
I do have one more question, but I'm not sure of the name. I can't remember. Tuition
Remission?
Yes.
Yes.
Who do I contact to ask about that? And
Do you work at LMU? Oh, fantastic.
yes. So I work at SEAL, Center for Equity for English Learners.
Okay.
And I've just completed my first year. So I'm, very grateful. And I feel like, okay, I have my feet wet enough. And I might not drown, but.
For sure. I would connect you with Cheryl. I don't know exactly.
Okay.
So I'll be honest. I don't know exactly who you would talk to, but I think Cheryl would be a good place to start, because I know a lot of our graduate students take advantage of tuition remission. So Cheryl Hugo, that was here, let me put her name in the chat, and actually I can pull up an email. Let me pull her email up. There she is, and then I can type it in for you. There you go.
Wonderful.
She will know if there is a specific person on our campus you should talk to. I would think Cheryl would know.
Okay.
For sure. And then obviously you'd want to discuss with your supervisor just to make sure that,
Yes.
but our classes are in the evening, so it really shouldn't impact the work schedule.
Yes.
For sure. What I do know, only because my husband did that, I believe you're covered for one course a semester.
Okay.
So anything beyond a course, I believe, would need to be subsidized by your own finances or financial aid.
Okay.
I believe. And again, rules could have changed because that was not recent. So check with them and see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you. This has been very helpful.
Great.
And I also watched a couple of the videos that you had.
Oh,
when
really?
I was just doing research, I don't know, I clicked on something and it took me to some of the videos that you
prepared?
yes, that you have prepared. So it's been helpful, and
Great.
I'm excited to look more into this.
Great. Well, and hopefully in the spring we'll be able to meet in person.
Yes.
When we're back on campus.
I know.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being here. You're welcome to stay.
Thank you. I'll let Julia have her
Okay.
time for her.
And you know how to find me if you have any additional questions.
Yes, and I have your address and
Excellent.
Cheryl's address. Thank you so much.
Most
Have
welcome.
a good evening.
To working with you.
Bye,
You too.
Julia.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Annette. Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome. All right, Julia, give me 1 second. I think I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
Okay.